police sirens split the quiet of my street, and in that instant my heart stopped. 2 patrol cars screeched into my driveway, lights flashing, and my 8-year-old daughter sat on the porch swing with her bald head shining in the sunlight from chemotherapy. And standing right behind the officers, smug as ever, was our HOA president, Karen Morrison, the woman who had just called the cops on my sick child. I'm a police captain. I've spent 22 years on the force, 5 of them leading my district. I've seen cruelty, pettiness, and people abusing their power. But nothing prepared me for the sight of a grown woman pointing at my daughter like she was some sort of criminal. 3 months earlier, Lily had lost her curls to chemo, and I thought the hardest part of this battle was behind us. I was wrong. The cancer wasn't the enemy that broke me, it was the neighbors who decided my child's bald head was a violation of community standards. Karen had been on a mission ever since. 47 violation notices in 3 months. Letters demanding Lily wear a wig, fines piling up into the thousands, even photos taken of her sitting quietly on our porch, her bald head circled in red marker as if it were evidence in a crime. And now, she had dragged police into it. I stepped outside just as Officer Rodriguez, one of my own men, someone who had worked under my command for years, was approaching Lily. He looked confused, maybe even embarrassed, but before I could say a word, Karen's voice rang out. This child has been deliberately violating appearance standards. She refuses to wear proper head coverings, and her disturbing appearance is lowering property values. I swear the world tilted under my feet. My daughter, who had endured months of poison in her veins, who had vomited until her tiny body shook, who still managed to smile through her tears, was now being treated like she was a criminal. Lily clutched her blanket tighter and whispered, "Daddy, are the policemen here because I don't have hair? Did I break the law by having cancer?" That was the moment my heart shattered completely. I knelt down, pulled her into my arms, and told her no, being sick isn't against any rule. But even as I said it, I saw Karen holding a thick folder like it was a weapon. She had come prepared, confident, sure of her power. The officers asked what the call was about, and Karen proudly flipped open her file. She showed photos of my daughter with big red circles around her head. She read aloud, violation after violation. September 15th, continued bald appearance disturbing neighbors. September 22nd, final warning. She said it like she was reading from a law book, her voice cold and sharp. My daughter gasped when she saw her own picture defaced with angry writing. "Why did she draw on my head, Daddy? Why did she make me look like I did something bad?" I almost lost control right there. This woman wasn't just harassing us, she was psychologically torturing a child. For a split second I faltered. I looked at Lily's small face, the tears brimming in her eyes, and I wondered if maybe I'd made the wrong call ignoring those notices. Maybe I should have moved. Maybe I should have bought more wigs. Maybe I should have done anything to stop this humiliation. For the first time in my career, I felt powerless. What good was being a police captain if I couldn't even protect my own little girl from a woman like this? But then I looked back at Karen. I saw the smug twist of her lips, the arrogance in her eyes. And something inside me snapped. I wasn't just a father, I was a cop, and I knew exactly what her behavior meant in the eyes of the law. I stood tall and asked my officers, "What did dispatch tell you?" Rodriguez looked uncomfortable. "Sir, we were told a child was deliberately disturbing neighbors with her appearance. Nothing about cancer." I turned to Karen. "Did you tell them she was a cancer patient?" She sneered. "Her medical situation doesn't exempt her from following rules. If she can't meet grooming requirements, maybe this isn't the right community for your family." That was it. My hands shook with a fury I had never felt before. I pulled out my phone and started scrolling through the hundreds of violation notices she'd sent. I read them aloud one by one, my voice sharp with rage. Deliberately disturbing appearance. Bald child negatively impacts community aesthetics. Consider relocation. Every word was poison, and every word exposed her for what she was, a bully hiding behind HOA bylaws. Rodriguez stared at her in disgust. "Ma'am, you took pictures of a sick child and circled her head like she was a criminal." Martinez's voice cut in hard and angry. "This isn't about community standards. This is harassment of a disabled minor." Karen tried to double down, her voice cracking but defiant. I have every right to enforce HOA rules. Just because she's sick doesn't mean she gets special treatment. I stepped closer, my voice dropping into the deadly calm I'd learned on the job. You're right, Karen. Being sick doesn't mean you get to ignore rules. But what you don't seem to understand is which rules actually matter. You filed a false police report. You stalked a child. You violated federal disability laws. That's not enforcing rules, that's a crime. Karen's face drained of color. You can't arrest me. I'm the HOA president. I looked at Rodriguez and gave the order. Place her under arrest. False report. Harassment of a minor. Disability discrimination. Rodriguez nodded, almost relieved, and stepped forward with handcuffs. Karen started to panic. Wait. This is all a misunderstanding. I was just maintaining property values. Rodriguez read her rights, and for the first time in months I saw fear on her face instead of arrogance. You bullied the wrong family, I said quietly, and now you're going to answer for it. As she was led away in cuffs, Lily peeked out the window, her eyes wide. She asked Officer Martinez, "Am I going to jail too because I don't have hair?" He swallowed hard and shook his head. No, sweetheart. You're braver than anyone I know. And right there on my porch, with the sirens fading and the mean lady finally powerless, I felt the weight lift from my chest. Not because the fight was over, far from it, but because Karen's reign of cruelty had ended in the only way it could, with handcuffs clicking shut. Sometimes the ugliest people hide behind the prettiest words like standards and rules. But when you strip it all away, cruelty is cruelty. And no bylaw in the world gives you the right to destroy a child's dignity.